Voice on the other end of the line.
Are you looking for a car insurance policy totally devoted to you? At Geico.com, you'll find a sympathetic ear, a shoulder to cry on, butterfly kisses, and easy ways to pay your bill and manage your policy. We're waiting with bated breath to help you save money and talk about your feelings. Geico, 15 minutes could save you hundreds on car insurance.
Congo's army fought gun battles on Tuesday with a separatist militia just 19 miles from Lubumbashi, capital of the copper-rich Katanga province, the provincial governor told Reuters. Although Katanga has been spared most of the rebellions that have simmered in the Democratic Republic of Congo over the last decade, the area, home to some of the world's largest copper reserves, has seen sporadic violence. In Thailand, anti-government protesters are preparing to take to the streets of Bangkok over the next week.
It's Thailand's pot of gold that keeps on giving. Tourism has continued to grow through political and economic upheavals. It accounts for more than 7% of the entire economy. Visitor numbers were up 20% last year until December. Then a sudden drop as anti-government protests continued in Bangkok week after week, growing bolder, able to challenge and at times chase off the police. No one can guess now how this will end.
That was the BBC's Jonathan Head reporting from Bangkok. Dutch Foreign Minister Frans Timmermans has urged the European Union to take a new look at its relationship with Cuba, the BBC reports. Mr. Timmermans, who's on a visit to Cuba, said the best way to promote change on the communist-run island was through dialogue, not isolation. The EU restricts its political ties with the Cuban government to try to encourage multi-party democracy and an end to human rights violations. With IRN USA News, I'm Sean Scott Ferguson.
My fellow Americans,
you are a meathead.
KTOX1340.com. Check it out.
KTOX.
No additives, no preservatives, no chemicals.
it's just good, clean fun.
Dandy Donut and Deli at 4630 Highway 95 in Fort Mojave has fresh baked donuts and pastries every day. They also feature sandwiches made to order, burritos, salads, wraps, and much more. Come in for breakfast and try the Sunrise Croissant Sandwich. It's a freshly buttered croissant with 2 scrambled eggs, American cheese, a choice of ham, bacon, turkey, or sausage, and a side of fresh fruit, mini muffin, or a regular donut. Don't forget the smoothies, fresh coffee, iced or hot, and Thai iced tea. Dandy Donut and Deli at 4630 Highway 95 in Fort Mojave, where quality food and service happen every day.
When it comes to local news, state news, business news, national news, sports, variety, information, and more, KTOX is the Tri-State's top leader.
Live from Studio D in Needles, California, KTOX 1340 AM and Pirate Web Radio Productions presents the Rob Hanson radio program.
In my world, everyone's a pony, and they all eat rainbows and poop butterflies.
Ain't nobody got dead in the regatta. Okay? That's a good thing, right?
To me, a safe regatta is no fatalities.
If I wanted anything to do with Sam McDonald, I'd call Domino's and order a pizza.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of the Rob Hanson radio program right here on KTOX 1340 AM. Got some immediate news for you. I announced it a little bit ago, broke into the top of the hour news to say it, but I'll go ahead and repeat it again. Injury accident at Courtright Road in Fort Mojave on Highway 95 and Courtright Road. Power lines are down. Apparently a car collided with a pole. One female victim is trapped inside her car at this point with power lines down on the car. Police are asking the Mojave County or Mojave Electric Co-op to Mojave Electric to go ahead and expedite and get to that scene. Again, a vehicle ran into a pole at 95 and Courtright Road in Fort Mojave, or in Mojave Valley. pardon me. And there is one female victim trapped inside her vehicle with power lines down on the vehicle. So folks up there without power right now and listening in on their car radio, just be cautious when you approach that intersection. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of tie-ups there, and hope your power isn't down for too long. So that's that. We'll bring more as we have more. Oh, let's see. There is no more. So anyway, got that. Wow, welcome. It is Tuesday, the Rob Hanson radio program right here on KTOX 1340 AM. Don't like have to be being the bearer of bad news at the front of the hour, but that was important enough to make me want to break in to this. So there's only the one vehicle involved. Just an absolute not cool situation, I guess. We are got the city council meeting tonight, and if you are not watching me or not listening to me today because of you want to see what goes on at the workshop right now, it's fine. I'll forgive you for today, but I expect you back here tomorrow, right on time. It's all well and good. Going to be a interesting meeting tonight. Very short, according to the agenda. But, a couple interesting things are going to be happening. One is the address by the Golden Vertex company, the mining company. That's doing the Moss mine at the moment. Have a feeling it's just damage control. Have a feeling it's just damage control because through some sources, and that I'm not able to divulge at this moment, but through some sources, the mining equipment has been shipped back. The miners have been laid off. The only thing really going right now is the reclamation process, and to extract the gold from their heap, and that's according to the Golden Vertex folks. So we'll listen to that tonight. I won't be playing that special, but you can you'll be sure to hear it tomorrow or the next day here on this program. Got all sorts of other things too. One of the main things we're going to be doing. Oh. Okay. All right, Tutu. She gave me a squirrel moment. But one of the things we're going to be especially paying attention to tonight is the fact that the city council is going to excuse themselves for a executive session. Now, there's been some argument here on whether or not that's going to happen, because they say that, well, that could just be a holdover from another one. Well, the agenda's the agenda. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll take a look. I'll watch that tonight. Hopefully I'll get to see that tonight, or somebody will call and tell me, or I'll see it tomorrow. I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it at the appropriate time. How about that? It is the Rob Hanson radio program. Phone number if you want to jump in on any of the conversation, 1-800-842-1340. I'm going to go over a bunch today. I'm going to do some Second Amendment stuff, some voluntary checkpoint stuff, and anything else that decides to cross our happy minds. Now I've gotten done talking about the city of Bullhead junk. I mean, really, I could get along well doing other things than having to talk about the city of Bullhead. I really could. Talk about things like, cars driving into power poles. Sad. Hope she's okay. Hope nobody gets hurt. And I hope they're able to get power restored in the area up there real soon. Well, like I said, we'll bring you updates on that. It is the Rob Hanson radio program. We're right back. right after these messages. KTOX 1340 AM.
Listening to Our Daddy on KTOX 1340 AM. Tune in daily. Peace.
KTOX 1340 AM.
The Tri-State's original local talk station.
And now for your local news from KTOX.
Arizona State Republican Representative Doris Goodale, who was struck down by a stroke last September, is fighting back and looking forward to returning to the state capitol. She's also planning to launch a re-election campaign. Goodale has proven unpopular with Republicans because of her support of the Common Core Education Plan and the expansion of the state's access program under the Affordable Health Care Act. She also voted against a measure that would have protected the women and children in the polygamous community of Colorado City, effectively killing that proposal.
2 men committed a home invasion robbery at gunpoint at a Bullhead City residence on Sunday, according to police. The men kicked in the front door and demanded money and marijuana. They threatened 2 women who were in the residence in the 1800 block of Riviera Boulevard with physical harm. The 2 men broke into a bedroom in the residence of a roommate and left with a safe. The men fled in a black Toyota Camry. The 2 suspects are described as one, a short, heavy, possibly Hispanic man who was seen wearing a ski mask, black shorts, bulletproof vest, and a dark-colored zip-up style jacket. The second suspect is described as a tall, white, thin man wearing a black hat, black shirt, and gray pants. Witnesses reported observing the suspect's face had bad acne scars. Anyone with information on the 2 suspects is asked to contact the Bullhead City Police Department at 928-763-9200. Callers may remain anonymous. This is David Hayes reporting for KTOX News.
This has been your local news from
KTOX,
the Tri-State's talk leader.
And get the machine that goes bing.
Someone here talked about blight. How do we fix blight if we don't have the funding for it? How do we take care of that?
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. At 7 I shower. Every day I wake up
For
at
those
5.
caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Dad, I don't think that will work.
Oh, nonsense. Duct tape fixes everything.
Uh-oh, Mom's gonna kill you.
Dad, you should get new flights for your darts and New Life games.
Yeah, Dad, Joey has all sorts of good stuff there.
Billiard and pool along with old school video games. He'll even fix their slot machine for us, Dad.
Okay, girls, let's go to New Life Games at 1159 Highway 95 in Bullhead City, Arizona. And let's go before your mom figures out I broke the window again.
There are many sounds in your daily life. Ones that make you smile. Ones that help you relax. And there are some sounds that can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you critical information about emergencies in your area. With updates from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know wherever you are. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to KTOX AM 1340, Needles, California, the home of talk in the Tri-State.
The truth. You can't handle the truth. I'm Mike Lipschultz, asking you to support KTOX 1340 AM radio because I want to know the truth.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Hanson radio program right here on KTOX 1340 AM. Phone lines are open, 1-800-842-1340. You want to jump in, talk about whatever you want to talk about, or, talk about what I'm talking about. We're easy here. We really are. Anyway, on to the main story of today. I took a look at this morning and said, my goodness gracious, maybe there are some federal judges that have their head unscrewed from their lower regions. Anyway, a federal judge scraps Chicago's ban on retail gun shops. A federal judge on Monday stripped away a key element of Chicago's gun ordinance, ruling that it's unconstitutional to prohibit gun-licensed gun stores from operating in the city. U.S. District Judge Edmund Chang found that the city failed to convince him that banning the sale of guns by licensed dealers was necessary to reduce gun violence. The ruling would also make it legal for individuals to transfer ownership of the firearm as a gift through a private sale as long as the recipient was at least 18 years of age and had a firearms owner identification card. So essentially what Chicago is going to do now is going to make it near impossible to get the firearms owner identification cards, which is going to set off a new round of court battles because a government entity restricting a person's right to own a weapon or own a weapon. Chicago, the last city to allow residents to have a handgun in their homes, once had one of the strongest handgun crackdowns in the country, making a primary target of the NRA. Overnight, the ban on retail gun stores and private gun sales was the last major hurdle gun rights groups faced in their hard-fought battle to dismantle Chicago's tough firearms prohibition. And this is coming to you via the Chicago Tribune newspaper. The latest court ruling in the long legal fight came one day after Illinois and the last state to approve a concealed carry law began accepting applications from residents who want to carry concealed firearms in public. But gun shops won't likely be showing up in Chicago anytime soon, since Chang delayed his ruling from taking effect until the city to allow the city time to appeal. So, that's probably going to make its way up to the Supreme Court. Probably guaranteed. Now, what's your opinion? 1-800-842-1340. Is that should that be a city's right to strip, to basically strip the Constitution and disallow people who have federal firearms dealers' licenses from selling weapons or what? Is that a good idea? Seriously, KTOX, you're on the air.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Beautiful uptown Fort Mojave.
Why, how you doing? Do you have power up there?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I think, just background checks on everybody that purchases a firearm is where it should be. I mean, you should be able to sell guns, do it legally. Quit this piecemeal, I don't know. It just seems kind of silly to me.
Well, here's my problem with background checks, okay? Background checks do nothing but filter out the good guys. Bad guys are going to get their hands on weapons anyway.
Well, there are some good guys that shouldn't have a gun.
Are there?
Yeah. I mean, they may have some little mental fluke that shouldn't be there. If they've had something in their past, most of the firearms, it's either crooks or people that have a mental problem is where it all stems from, I think. The fit of the moment, you lose it and you yank out a pistol or a rifle and you shoot somebody.
Okay.
And, if you've had in your background, say, where a domestic violence thing where you beat some woman or some guy up,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't think you deserve a firearm.
Well, okay. People make mistakes. Does that automatically disbar you from forever owning any kind of firearm?
Well, if you really want one bad enough, maybe you should think at the time and say, "Hey, I better not do this." But then it goes back.
You're more reasonable than that. I mean, I'm sure there's been times in your life where you've gotten so doggone mad you had to hit somebody.
Well, yeah.
It's okay.
And that my point, though, it goes back to, like I said, even a good guy
Mm-hmm.
has a firearm, and if you lose it, there could be a problem right there with it. But as far as selling them, and you can't. In fact, the more look at alcohol. Anytime you ban anything, cigarettes, alcohol, guns, anything.
40 and 60 watt incandescent light bulbs.
Yeah, well, it's just going to make them more expensive, and people will get their hands on it. It's just that. So there'll be somebody out there, and what's it do? It creates more crime.
It does. I'm looking for my 60 and 40 watt incandescent light bulb dealer as we speak.
Need a fix, huh?
Yeah. We just used one another one up here in the studio. Yeah, because Dave takes pity on me. He really does. He tries not to. He tries not to flood me with too many fluorescents.
This, to me, it's a freedom that's being taken away. The light bulb, the gun, and Sunday's paper. This DUI checkpoint thing.
Yeah.
That just kind of ticks me off too.
We're gonna talk about voluntary government checkpoints here in a little while.
What they said in the paper, near 5,000 were stopped. That was Mojave, La Paz, and Yuma counties.
Right.
Issued almost 2,000 citations, and out of that, 71 were arrested for a DUI. 22 extreme, I believe it was. And I have no problem, I've said it before on the air, arresting a drunk driver. You shouldn't drive drunk, and it's just that simple. But when the law is to such an extreme, where if you have a beer with a taco or a glass of wine with your spaghetti dinner, you're subject to arrest.
Yeah.
Well, there's something wrong with that law. Because one beer or one glass of wine does not make you drunk or under the influence. Now, California, I don't know what the law is here, but I imagine it's pretty close. In California, no, you're not at 08, but they still give you a citation for being impaired, and that goes from .01 up to .0799.
Right.
And I don't know what it was back, because I got a DUI in 1980.
Oh, you shouldn't own a firearm either, or a truck.
What's that?
You shouldn't own a truck or a firearm. You're a criminal. You're a bad guy.
Well, there you go, see?
See, that's taking things to extreme.
Well, okay, it would be, let's put it, there's a answer to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That is not on my record anymore.
Right.
So if you keep your nose clean for whatever, in this case it's been 30 years, well, fine. You can go about your business as you did as a citizen before.
Right.
Make it, 30 years is a little extreme. But my point, the fine on .01, at the time the fine for over 8, and this was just about the time they brought it down to .08, was $795. Plus you had to go to court, or I got a half a semester of college out of it, DUI school.
Mm-hmm.
And but if you were busted for a .01, The fine was like $279.
Okay, so it's all revenue related at that
Of course,
point.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, make it realistic. If you're drunk, well, it's going to cost you dearly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just have to booze it up and get in your car and you go out and get stopped and or have an accident, well, sock it to them. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I really don't. But when you impede, a fellow having just a beer, I'm not talking about sitting in a pub somewhere, down in a bunch, but, I mean, I like to have a cocktail with dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You go out, like we'll go over to Laughlin to eat. And over the course, I don't run in and eat and run out. I sit and I dine.
Right.
And I'll have 1, 2 usually, cocktails. And this is over an hour and a half period, and maybe gamble a little bit, and no more to drink. But on my way home, I'm thinking, I'm a criminal. I get paranoid about it.
Well, here's the thing: don't go out and enjoy what you like to do. Don't go out to dine anymore. If you're going to have
what I've done.
Going to have your glass of wine, stay at home. Hey, I'm out of time. Thanks for your call.
All right.
We'll talk to you
Quite
again.
welcome,
You
sir.
betcha.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It is the Rob Hanson radio program. Back after this, we're going to talk about it. Are these gun laws getting out of hand? I want to know. I want to hear from you. 1-800-842-1340. And maybe it's time some judges and people just start pushing back. That's going to be it. We'll be right back.
You're listening to KTOX 1340 AM, Needles, California.
Arizona News Radio Peoria police arrest 5 people accused of operating what was supposed to be a weight loss center as a medical marijuana dispensary.
Our belief is that although they had originally leased the business that they had opened as a weight loss center, they were knowingly selling marijuana illegally from inside.
A vehicle belonging to an elderly Southwest Arizona man with Alzheimer's found in a wash in California.
It is unknown how long the vehicle has been in the area. However, San Bernardino County SO said it did have extensive water damage.
Gilbert police arrest an ROTC instructor at Highland High School for having a sexual relation with a 15-year-old female student.
It's very troubling just when you have somebody, a professional, in a position of power, so to speak, where children can be taken advantage of.
And a chance of snow in eastern Arizona.
It does look like the highest amounts are likely out on the eastern Mogollon Rim and White Mountain area.
For these and other stories, ArizonaNewsRadio.com, I'm Schwartz Tanner.
Thinking about quitting smoking or chewing tobacco? This is one time when quitting makes you a winner. And just like in sports, every winner has a coach behind him to make it work. So get a coach to help you be a winner when you quit tobacco. Call Ashline, 1-800-556-6222. The coaching is free, and you'll get help with medications too. Winners never reach their goal alone. Why should you? You can quit. We can help. Call Ashline, 1-800-556-6222.
Badger Mutual Insurance encourages you to drive safely, and hopefully you'll never have an accident. But if it happened to you, would you know what to do? Always contact the police first. Take photos of the scene and cars involved, including license plates. Remember, your phone is a camera. Always keep paper and pencil in your glove box along with your insurance card. Write down any witness names, and if anyone appears injured, notify Badger Mutual Insurance as soon.
And now for your local news from KTOX.
Charges have been levied against Katrina Lynn McGuire, 35 of Kingman, who was arrested for allegedly stealing as much as $10,000 in merchandise from the Kingman Kmart store. McGuire was booked into the Mojave County Jail after admitting to her involvement in the thefts that took place in the receiving department of the store, where she would hide items in other merchandise packaging, swap price tags, or hide goods in trash cans. Everything stolen appears to have been taken for personal use. A seriously injured woman was airlifted to hospital in Las Vegas following a grinding crash at the intersection of Highway 95 and Camp Mojave Road in Fort Mojave. The woman's small vehicle was struck by a large sedan that failed to heed the stoplight and T-boned the smaller car, trapping the woman driver inside. The driver of the Chevrolet Monte Carlo sustained minor injuries to his knee and shoulder. An investigation into the crash is ongoing. In an unexpected move, the Bullhead City Airport was given yet another extension of the $500,000 grant designed to help secure scheduled air service for the beleaguered tiny airport. This is the third extension based on yet another unnamed airline supposedly in negotiations for use of the facility. The original grant was issued 6 years ago and was extended in 2011 and 2012.
This has been your local news from
KTOX, the Tri-States talk leader.
And get the machine that goes bing. Drive down Marina Drive, and you'll see what blight is like. Someone here talked about blight. How do we fix blight if we don't have the funding for it? How do we take care of that?
Welcome back. It is the Rob Hanson radio program right here on KTOX 1340 AM, Tri-State's Renegade radio station. Tomorrow, we're going to have a special guest on, Ron Suknik. Horrible with names. I am so horrible with names. I really need to really learn to pronounce them. Anyway, he's going to be talking about Sukinek. Sukinek is how you pronounce it. He sent me a pronunciation. But Ron Sukinek is the president and founder of Relationship Strategies Institute. He's going to be talking about how to get better results out of social media and social networking for 2014. And of course, he's going to talk about his new book. Oh, doggone it. Forgot the name of it already. 21 Days to Success with social networking. So it might be something that you want to listen to about 4:15 tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be talking to him about that, and I'm looking forward to it. Talked to him in depth yesterday, and it seems like a really neat and interesting person. Very very active, and so he's going to give some tips, and we'll see what his book is all about as well. Anyway, we're talking about Chicago's gun rule being overturned as unconstitutional, and are we going to start seeing a lot more of this? I'm hoping so personally, because frankly, if you're not a felon and you're able to walk the streets free, you should be able to own a weapon, as far as I'm concerned, and unlimited. It's a Second Amendment right, but I do agree that felons do have no business owning firearms, and if you've committed a felony, you don't get one. I think we're going too far in trying to prevent criminals from having firearms by just ending up preventing honest people from having them or owning them or obtaining them. A criminal who wants a weapon, a firearm, isn't necessarily going to go to a gun store and buy it. He's going to get it other means. He has contacts. Sure, he may pay a little more for it, but he'll get it, and I guarantee it won't have 5 rounds, it won't have 15 rounds, it'll have as many rounds as he can stuff in it. And it may not be semi-automatic, it may be fully automatic, depending upon, how much he's willing to spend through his underworld contacts. And gun dealers who deal guns to criminals, well, they're criminals themselves and will eventually be caught. Had something like that happen up in Bullhead about 12 years ago. Gun store got shut down because they were running full automatic weapons out of their store to a biker gang. So they lost their store. Now it's a tattoo parlor, I think. That So I think the current system works just fine. Just maybe we need to concentrate more on the actual criminals instead of concentrating on making criminals out of honest people. I don't know. 1-800-842-1340. It's your opinion, because I want to hear from you. Do you think that the crackdown on weapons nationwide has been good for the nation, or is it going to cut down on violent crime? Or is it just another way of controlling you and taking away, stripping away you of your rights as an American citizen? It's just where do we go from here? Where do we say no? Where do we stop and say no more? I know some people out there believe, nobody should have any weapons. Nobody should have any guns. Take them away from the police, too. That just means the criminals have them. And that's unrealistic. Let's look at realistic approaches to gun control, or realistic approaches to having criminals off the streets with no access to firearms. Let's look at realistic. Because when we're realistic about it, we realize that there are a lot more gun owners that are honest, upstanding citizens than there are criminals with guns. And if the feds have had their way, if a lot of the states have had their way, and are having their way, such as New York, they've turned honest gun-owning citizens into criminals overnight by having a weapon with a greater than 5-round magazine capacity. By having a weapon that looks like it belongs in the hands of the military, like the AR-15. The scary-looking guns. When we sit down and realistically look at things, it doesn't make any sense. The criminal is going to get what a criminal wants to get. End of discussion. Whether it's breaking into somebody's house and stealing their weapons, or going to their dealer and buying weapons. Hot weapons or whatever weapons, smuggled weapons. It all comes down to just common sense, I guess. And the government and common sense are oxymorons as far as I'm concerned. And it's just something that I don't know if it's something we're going to have to deal with, or it's something that we need to address with our local, state, and federal legislators. I mean, there are already attacks on privacy with the NSA phone spying. We're going to hear in just a little bit. We're going to get into a voluntary government checkpoints. We did this story a little while ago, and this is an update to that story. If I can get to it, my computer just crashed it, but it's busy. It says I'm busy, but voluntary checkpoints, where they are using off-duty police officer to herd you in here, and they're asking you to give a blood sample, blow into an alcohol thing, or the cheek swab. Do we really want to trust the government to do that? These checkpoints have been going on for a while, but they are sparking a lot of backlash within local police departments that have been approached to help do this. It's a private company that's been contracted by the federal government to gather information for drunken and driving programs, and it's coming under criticism in cities around the country. The tactic involves a subcontractor for the National Highway and Traffic and Safety Administration, and they are using off-duty police officers. They go there and say, "Hey, you guys want to earn some extra bucks? Just get in uniform and pull people over and direct them in here, and we'll handle the rest of it." When you have a squad car pull up behind you and flashes lights, or is blocking an intersection and directing you into a parking lot, that then becomes a police matter. And to turn over control of the stop to a civilian agency, and not even a civilian agency that is part of the government, just a contractor for the government, I think that's violating your Fourth Amendment rights even more so. But essentially, what they're doing, in some cases, workers at the checkpoints collect blood, saliva samples, and in addition to breath samples, They say that they have, in previous surveys, they do not collect any DNA, yet they're taking blood and saliva and cheek swabs. The St. Charles County, Missouri Sheriff Tom Neer, who recently authorized deputies to participate in the checkpoint in his St. Louis suburb, saw a public backlash. There just isn't a strong. There's such a strong anti-government feelings among the people, especially under the circumstances. I would not allow them to do it again, just because of the perception that they're cooperating with the feds, pulling you over, and essentially searching you without a warrant. Now they say this is completely voluntary, but how many people are coerced into this by thinking, well, if I don't do this, they're just going to search harder. And we already have the NSA, poking their nose in where they really don't belong. And now we have, the Highway Traffic Administration, federal, National Highway Traffic Safety Association, getting into the the warrantless search. Oh sure, you can volunteer all you want for a search, and I've seen countless instances where that you're basically coerced. We've talked about them on the program. There's a group out there. I'm trying to bring it up now. Hopefully it'll load sometime this month. On the online paralegal programs.com. They put up this little infographic that says you have the right to remain out of prison. And they give you the information you need so you can deal with the police if you believe that your rights are being violated. It says know your rights. There are 3 levels of police citizen encounters: consensual, investigative detention, and arrest. Now, if a cop comes up to you and wants you to do something, you have the right to ask, "Am I free to leave?" And he says yes, or he says no. At that point, it's ask him if it's becoming an investigative detention. If it's not, well, you have the right to leave. Are you required to show an ID at a consensual or casual conversation? No, you don't have to. Can they do a legal search? No, it has to be consensual or in plain sight. So if you have a bag of pot hanging off your shirt and they seize it, well then that's going to become an investigative detention plus an arrest. But they're tricking you. They're out there to trick you. I won't say all of them, because there are a lot of good police officers. But we need to be prepared. And if you are in an investigative detention, such as a traffic stop, okay, where they are looking for evidence, reasonable, accountable, or articular suspicion. Just reasonable, you're speeding, got some lights out. Are you free to leave? No. Do you have to show your ID? Yes. In some instances, you do. In 26 states don't require showing ID. Wyoming is one of those. Texas is one of those. Oklahoma is one of those. Arizona is not. California is. California, if it's an investigative detention, you don't have to show your ID. And, they can frisk or plain sight or consensual search if they are in a investigative detention. Now, usually, does that mean going through your car with a fine-tooth comb? No. They actually cannot pull you out of the car and go through your person or your vehicle. Now, if they're going to arrest you, you bet they're going to make you show an ID, and they're going to frisk, plain sight, consensual, or go grab a warrant. They're going to search you one way or the other. But the best practices to exercise your rights. 1, always be polite and respectful. Keep your hands visible even if they're cold. Ask to leave often. Not asking equals voluntarily staying. Ask for cause. If you're pulled over or if you're stopped in the middle of the street, ask for the cause. Officers must articulate observed suspicions. If asked, ask if requests are orders. Record the encounter immediately. Audio and video recording laws differ from state to state. But in Arizona, you can pull out your video camera. You can turn on your voice recorder. But you can always write down the encounter when it occurs and report any violations of your rights. Never answer questions. Lie or give false documents. give permission to search without fully reading a warrant, or give permission to search, period, unless they present a warrant. Argue, resist, flee, or obstruct, even if your rights are being violated. And when you're pulled over, only crack the door or window unless ordered to fully open it, and then go ahead and comply. Remember, a police request is not an order. Clarify if it's an order or request, and always keep items that might draw attention out of plain sight. Prescription bottles, medicine, hookahs, rolling papers, measuring scales, Ziploc baggies, firearms, weapons. That one was particularly funny. But just some common sense things. Be polite and respectful is the first thing. How many times I don't know how many times I've seen on some of these police encounter videos where the driver or the person who has an encounter with a police officer has gotten lippy or mouthy or even violent. They've tried to do things. Police may legally lie, bluff, and intimidate you. Most avoidable arrests occur from trickery and intimidation, which is a result of the individual consenting to a search or admitting guilt. And when you do video or audio recording, if it's legal in your state to do that, legally, an officer may not confiscate your equipment, demand to view the footage, or delete without a warrant. And individual, you may not interfere with the officer's duty. If the officer says stand back, do so. Physically resist. If an officer reaches for your device, do not resist, just report it. Right, Dave? Uh-huh. Don't know what Dave's going on. Anyway, you have certain rights in a detention, but people just aren't taking advantage of their rights. Oh, it's the police. Well, I've got to do something. Okay, refusing to answer, you can refuse to answer incriminating questions. I believe that's the Fifth Amendment, something like that. And refusing to answer those questions are not an admission of guilt, nor are they reasons to detain you. And know your Miranda rights. They are read only once, and you are in police custody. So here's a common police trick. Trick question: have you had anything to drink tonight? Not answering is suspicious. Why are you resisting? Respectfully, officer, I don't have to answer that, is the best answer. I'm not resisting. Respectfully, I don't have to answer anything, is how you respond to that. If you have nothing to hide, you don't mind if I look around. I'm sorry, officer, but I don't consent to searches. If you refuse a search, I'll have to call a K-9 unit. Officer, are you detaining me or am I free to go? And finally, we come down to the breathalyzer. Do you have to take it? No, you have the right to refuse, but be warned, refusal is an automatic, irreversible suspension of a driver's license in most states. So if you haven't been drinking, yeah, go ahead and blow into that thing. But also be aware of this. The breathalyzers are tuned to the average person. False positive factors. Smaller people, small lung capacity, diabetes, acid reflux, low-carb diet, inhalers, and fumes, such as paint, ethanol gas, may give false readings. It is the Rob Hanson radio program, right after the top of the hour news right here on KTOX 1340 AM. The Tri-State's Renegade radio station.
Now the past gone away. No
And now for your local news from KTOX.
Arizona State Republican Representative Doris Goodale, who was struck down by a stroke last September, is fighting back and looking forward to returning to the state capitol. She's also planning to launch a re-election campaign. Goodale has proven unpopular with Republicans because of her support of the Common Core education plan and the expansion of the state's access program under the Affordable Health Care Act. She also voted against a measure that would have protected the women and children in the polygamous community of Colorado City, effectively killing that proposal.
Two men committed a home invasion robbery at gunpoint at a Bullhead City residence on Sunday, according to police. The men kicked in the front door and demanded money and marijuana. They threatened two women who were in the residence in the 1800 block of Riviera Boulevard with physical harm. The two men broke into a bedroom in the residence of a roommate and left with a safe. The men fled in a black Toyota Camry. The two suspects are described as one, a short, heavy, possibly Hispanic man who was seen wearing a ski mask, black shorts, bulletproof vest, and a dark-colored zip-up style jacket. The second suspect is described as a tall, white, thin man wearing a black hat, black shirt, and gray pants. Witnesses reported observing the suspect's face had bad acne scars. Anyone with information on the two suspects is asked to contact the Bullhead City Police Department at 928-763-9200. Callers may remain anonymous. This is David Hayes reporting for KTOX News.
This has been your local news from
KTOX, the Tri-States Talk leader.
And get the machine that goes... Someone here talked about blight. How do we fix blight if we don't have the funding for it? How do we take care of that?
Tri-State's home of talk, KTOX, Needles.
In USA News, I'm Sean Scott Ferguson. The polar vortex swirling its way across the United States is breaking new records, leaving travelers stranded on trains and in airports and forcing the Coast Guard to cut through ice. Even polar bears and penguins have had to take shelters indoors. New York City saw a record low for the date Tuesday. It was just 4 degrees in Central Park, breaking a record of 6 set in 1896. A bomb thrown from a car damaged an Egyptian police car in central Cairo on Tuesday in a drive-by attack by assailants who also raked the vehicle with gunfire, security officials said. It was not immediately clear if there were any casualties in the attack, which targeted a traffic police checkpoint on an unusually busy flyover near the upscale residential district of Zamalek. The U.S. trade deficit narrowed to its lowest level in 4 years in November as rising sales of oil pushed U.S. exports to a record high, the BBC reports. The trade gap dropped by 12.9% to $34.3 billion in November.
It's time to get your game plan ready. Stretch those muscles and give it your all at Rite Aid this January. Come in and get up.
Okay, but what I really need is a new logo.
Office Max can help you design your brand identity and create business cards, letterhead, and more.
Great. Now about all these files.
Office Max has storage solutions that are just your style.
Nothing can stop me now.
That untied shoelace might.
If you need it for your business, you'll find it at Office Max. Now at 20% off. Restrictions apply. 20% off on select products only. Go to OfficeMax.com for coupon and details. Offer ends January 11th.
Tonight.
I cannot even conceive how you get charges dropped, released from jail, and put in charge of a unit.
I'm a changed man. There are good cops and bad cops.
Can't do everything with a battering ram.
The hell I get. Detective Voight is a little bit of both.
But when they get out, you have a future beyond this neighborhood. It's okay to want that.
Chicago PD from Dick Wolf, executive producer of SVU and Chicago Fire. The premiere of Chicago PD after Revolution and SVU tonight on NBC.
A 35-year-old New York man has been charged with felony and misdemeanor assault in what police said were 6 knockout attacks, including assaults on 3 elderly women and a woman walking with her daughter, the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office said Monday, CNN reports. Barry Baldwin, a Brooklyn resident, was charged with 3 felony counts of assault, 3 misdemeanor counts of assault, and other crimes in connection with a spate of attacks between November 9 and December 27th in predominantly Jewish sections of Brooklyn. Negotiations over a $1 trillion U.S. spending bill to implement last month's budget deal were snagged on some partisan policy disputes just days before another government shutdown deadline on January 15th, according to congressional aides. A Senate Democratic aide said Republicans in the House of Representatives were insisting on including policy language aimed at restricting abortions, as well as prohibiting the Environmental Protection Agency from regulating carbon emissions. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is IRN USA News.
With the Sam's Club membership, you get incredible savings every time you shop. And for a limited time, Sam's Club members get a savings book with more than $3,000 in extra savings. You can save even more on essentials like coffee, cereal, paper towels, and laundry detergent. Plus, get ready for tax season with savings on TurboTax and HP printers and ink. Get your savings book today. So join and save. Sam's Club, because life is better when you're in the club. See club for details.
A country that was one of the highlights of the Arab Spring, but now fondly known as the Arab Winter, is Libya, where America's interference turned a once stable, if not repressive, state into a country overrun with weapons, which as a result saw the creation of numerous militias. Benghazi is a perfect example of that. Recently, the weak central government in Tripoli ordered a Libyan warship to intercept a Malta-flagged oil tanker from entering its territorial waters, as it was apparently en route to the port of northeastern city of Misrata, which is not in government hands. Libya's Eastern Militia has almost total control of the east of the country and is pushing for more autonomy from the government in Tripoli. An example of the militia's power is its ability, as it has, to shut down the oil terminals in its region. Teachers need guns, says one lawmaker. Hope Duggar tells us who.
The December 13th incident struck a chord with State Senator Ted Harvey, a Republican who represents Centennial, where the shooting occurred, because his own son attends the school. Harvey, whose wife is a school teacher, said armed teachers at Arapahoe High School might have been able to act even more quickly than the two staff members being hailed as heroes after running toward the library where James Pearson had gunned down Claire Davis and ignited a Molotov cocktail. According to FoxNews.com, Harvey has introduced a bill to allow school districts in Colorado to let teachers carry guns. He sponsored the bill prior to the shooting, but says that the tragedy cements the measure's importance. With IRN USA Radio News, I'm Hope Duggar.
And I'm Sean Scott Ferguson with IRN USA.
The suicide rate of Native Americans is 25% higher than the national rate.
Today is just another day.
A day I think about you.
A day I remember your laugh.
A day I remember your sense of humor.
Why were you so sad?
What made you hurt so much?
Why didn't you call?
Why didn't I see your signs?
Your pain may be gone,
but mine just started.
No one said life was easy.
There is help. There's hope.
Reach out to someone.
Reach out to me.
Reach out to me.
Reach out to me.
A person commits suicide every 40 seconds.
So please get help. It's worth it. Be strong and live life.
This message was brought to you by Native Cry Outreach Alliance and KTOX.
Good morning. This is Mike and Mary. That's my wife. We listen to KTOX every morning just so we can hear the truth.
KTOX 1340 AM.
The Tri-State's original local talk station.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Hanson radio program right here on KTOX 1340 AM. Yeah. Just back from that news break. No further updates on that accident in Mojave Valley. So we will keep an eye on that. I don't know if they have power back on up there or not. If you are in the area and you do know, please give me a call, 1-800-842-1340, so we can keep people updated about this. It's pretty nasty little accident. One car accident up just Highway 95 and Courtright and crews are working to clear the power lines covering the vehicle where the driver was trapped or is still trapped. I don't know. It's like no further information available at this time. So that was roughly an hour ago. I'm sure they've gotten most of that cleared off, and I hope they have power backup there in Mojave Valley as well, because we like you to have power. You pay for it. You should be able to have it. Anyway, if you want to see a copy of that, you have rights. You have the right to stay out of jail. You can go to www.online-paralegal-programs.com/legal-rights. Or you can go to the Rob Hanson radio programs, the Facebook page, and I've got a link up there, so you can see this infographic, because it's very informative and pretty important to know these things. Now, not everybody's going to remember everything when they're stopped by the police, but if you can remember one thing, be polite and courteous to the police officer. Okay, things will go much better for you. Because it's usually when people get all upset and start yelling and screaming and cussing and stomping back and forth is when the police really get out of control, and then it becomes a YouTube video. Now, take a quick phone call here. KTOX, you're on the air.
Hi, Rob.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Listening to your information there. I've always tried to follow guidelines on how to deal with officers and try to know my legal rights.
Uh-huh.
And I'm always friendly. I always start out by saying, "Hey, Barney, where's Andy at?" And,
that could be construed as an insult.
you think that's part of the problem?
Yeah, it could be.
I've never been able to shake loose from a ticket yet. But I am from the South, and I do try to be friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. Maybe I should adapt other measures.
Adapt other measures like, howdy, officer, what can I do for you?
One time, I'm cruising down the interstate at about 80, 85, and a state policeman in Illinois chases me down, and so my wife's nephew was a cop, and so after he quizzed me a little bit, and right before he started writing a ticket, I said, my nephew is so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, oh, yeah. He said, I taught him everything he knows, and went ahead and wrote me a huge ticket.
There you go. Well, I've got an interesting story for you if you want to hang on and listen to it, because I'll share this to you. My dad was a deputy sheriff and undersheriff of Albany County, Wyoming, for years and years and years. Yeah, he was out on patrol when I pulled this guy over, and he was speeding. This was down Highway 287, in between Fort Collins and Laramie, Wyoming, up there.
I've been there.
Yeah, I think the exact spot was tie siding, which I understand people around here have absolutely no clue where that is. Just believe me, it's between Fort Collins and Laramie, Wyoming on the map. But anyway, the guy starts getting a little lippy. Well, don't you think I should have a warning? So my dad looks at him and says, I'll give you a warning. Do it again, I'll give you another ticket. There's your warning. Now, you want to know the really cool part about this?
That's a good line.
You want to know the really cool part about this? The guy who got that ticket, years later, sent it into Reader's Digest.
And I think that used to be the $25 or $50 for a police line like that. I remember
something like that. But it got printed, and Life in these United States is where it got printed into. But it was wonderful. Dad read that, and we all howled. We all howled because we remember him telling the story around the dinner table. So it was great.
But my wife was young and pretty, and now she's older and still pretty.
There you go. Good answer, man. You're getting fed tonight.
I know, just in case she's around here somewhere. she would get a ticket. And back in those days, for running a stop sign or cruising through a stop sign, geez, it wasn't more than $20.
Right.
But she would just fall apart and just cry and bawl.
Right.
And she would get out of it every time. I couldn't believe it. You know, it might give her a warning ticket, but most times she would just come home with teary eyes. I said, "What happened?" "Oh, I got stopped." "Well, how much?" "Nothing." He said, "Just, lady, please go on."
That's wonderful. And I won't tell that you've been telling stories on your wife. So no, we'll keep that between you and me and all the other callers.
She's about 4 states away, so unless your signal is really getting out there this afternoon.
Well, she could see it on the internet. You never know.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. She could. All right, Rob.
So if you get a nastygram in your email tonight, it's not my fault. But anyway, hey, thanks for your call.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It is the Rob Hanson radio program. We'll come back. We'll talk about this a little while longer. We'll maybe find something else to do. You know, it is the official animal of this program is the squirrel. So you can call and change my direction anytime you want. Or, you know, you could even message me on Facebook. That works too. It is the Rob Hanson radio program, KTOX 1340 AM. We'll be right back right after these messages.
The love we share seems to go nowhere.
You're listening to My Daddy on KTOX Renegade Radio 1340 AM.
KTOX Radio for the Mind.
If you need something medical, wouldn't you go to a store called Anything Medical that's the largest store of its kind in the nation? Where is this store? Right here in Bullhead City at 4345 Highway 95 in the Target Plaza next to Staples. Anything Medical's inventory is second to none, and they specialize in all your respiratory needs. Anything Medical carries Cherokee, jockey shorts, and Dickey scrubs, and lift chairs starting at just $5.99. Anything Medical in the Target Plaza next to Staples, where a first-time customer becomes a long-time friend.
And now for your local news from KTOX.
Charges have been levied against Katrina Lynn McGuire, 35 of Kingman, who was arrested for allegedly stealing as much as $10,000 in merchandise from the Kingman Kmart store. McGuire was booked into the Mojave County Jail after admitting to her involvement in the thefts that took place in the receiving department of the store, where she would hide items in other merchandise packaging, swap price tags, or hide goods in trash cans. Everything stolen appears to have been taken for personal use. A seriously injured woman was airlifted to hospital in Las Vegas following a grinding crash at the intersection of Highway 95 and Camp Mojave Road in Fort Mojave. The woman's small vehicle was struck by a large sedan that failed to heed the stoplight and T-boned the smaller car, trapping the woman driver inside. The driver of the Chevrolet Monte Carlo sustained minor injuries to his knee and shoulder. An investigation into the crash is ongoing. In an unexpected move, the Bullhead City Airport was given yet another extension of the $500,000 grant designed to help secure scheduled air service for the beleaguered tiny airport. This is the third extension based on yet another unnamed airline supposedly in negotiations for use of the facility. The original grant was issued 6 years ago and was extended in 2011 and 2012.
This has been your local news from
KTOX.
The Tri-States Talk leader.
And get the machine that goes bing.
Drive down Marina Drive, and you'll see what blight is like. Someone here talked about blight. How do we fix blight if we don't have the funding for it? How do we take care of that?
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Airports.
You're
listening to KTOX AM 1340, Needles, California, the home of talk in the tri-state.
This is Ted Nugent at KTOX 1340 AM, where the spirit of the wild is strong and free.
Want some whiskey in your water, sugar in your tea? What's all this crazy question they're asking me? This is the craziest party that could ever be. Don't turn on the lights, cause I don't want to see. Mama told me not to come. Mama told me not to come. That ain't the way that I Open up the window, let some air into this room. I think I'm almost choking from the smell of
Welcome back. It is the Rob Hanson radio program right here on KTOX 1340 AM, Tri-State's Renegade radio station. Original talk radio station in the Tri-States. Having fun. Talking about your rights to stay out of jail. And, things that police can and cannot do in certain situations. And also, just some general tips on how to deal with the police. Now, one of the things we haven't talked about is roadblocks. Now, like I said, we just did a story where of the voluntary checkpoints, they're coming under fire from local police departments because they feel that the complaints that they're getting back from their citizenry and the distrust of federal agents, whether they are contractors or not, they're seeing some local backlash, and they are there to serve and protect you. You pay them their salaries to protect you, not to intimidate you, not to take away your rights, but to protect you and to help you when you're in trouble or do whatever. But let's talk about roadblocks for a minute. Now, DUI stops, okay, falls under the heading protection from imminent public danger. They're legal. Now, the same rules apply to any other traffic stops. You crack your window unless told to roll it down all the way. You are polite. You comply. If the officer tells you to do something, do it. But make note of things. If he violates your rights, make sure you complain. Now, border stops, they're a little bit different. And, quasi-legal. Agents may legally search anything without a warrant at a border stop. Now, that's crossing into the country. That's always been. Oh, we're going to take a look at your bags. We're going to take a look through your car. We're going to make sure you're not, bringing in, 100 pounds of marijuana into the country. We're going to look. We're going to take a look. And they can. And the same rules apply to any other traffic stop as well. But let's talk about border stops when you're 10 miles away from the border. That's where things are starting to become a lot more fuzzy because they're stopping people and searching their vehicles. And basically a constitution-free zone is what they're calling this. And that's that's not right at all. I just want people to know that you need to cooperate with them. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in handcuffs and being transported away to jail, where you're going to spend some time and probably be in a little bit of trouble. Resisting arrest is a charge that's completely avoidable. Now, drug stops. The Supreme Court has ruled random checkpoints for the purposes of finding drugs are unconstitutional. So the cops can't just say, well, drug checkpoint 1 mile ahead. This is a police trap. Do not exit. Police are looking for reasons to pull people over. Illegal U-turns, littering, suspicious exiting. So, be aware. Keep things. You don't have to keep them in the forefront of your mind, but just remember some things. Be polite. Be cooperative. And record everything to the best of your ability. Nothing's going to stop you from taking notes down after the stop. And you have rights, know them. And again, you can find this at www.online-paralegal-programs.com legal-rights. And there's a whole article here of things that you can you can do. Here, and I won't go through it all, but you do have rights, and you can stand up for your rights during any kind of stop, any kind of, whether it's federal, local police, sheriffs, state, whatever, without landing yourself in jail. You can demand that your rights be respected. It's your right. But you can do it in a very polite manner, where they can get frustrated all they want, but there's not a doggone thing they can do to you. So if there's one thing that you should always keep in the forefront of your mind, be polite when dealing with law enforcement. I always have been until they get snooty. I've told you my story of being pulled over by Bullhead City's finest. They were looking for some other reason to detain me other than the right headlight I had out. Questioning me where I'd been, where I'm going, blah 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 blah. They really don't have the right to ask those questions. But I answered, I was coming home from Walmart. And I gave them my reason, and they didn't like it, and they left real quick. But I wouldn't advise that to anybody else to do. I don't know if he thought I was serious or I was joking, but he was looking for a reason other than just the out headlight. He had to check my driver's license. He had to check my registration. Had to check my insurance. Had to make sure I didn't have warrants out for my arrest. Had to make sure all his T's and I's were dotted and crossed. And then when he figured out I didn't have any warrants and my insurance was up to date and my my registration was paid, he had to dig a little further. He wanted me to admit that I'd been out buying drugs or something. I'm sure it's not going to happen. I'm coming home from Walmart, or I'm coming home from something else I want to do. He asked me if I'd been out drinking. I said, no, I don't drink. I don't consume alcohol. But really, you don't have to say anything, because really they don't have a right to know. It's not in their rights to know. And then it comes to find out I just have a burned out headlight. Thank you. I'll get that fixed first thing tomorrow morning. As soon as the parts store is open, I'll be down buying a headlight. And I did. And they did. And I left happy. He left disgruntled. Fine with me. But anyway, again, that website's www.online-paralegal-programs.com/legal-rights. I know that's kind of a mouthful. But if you go to the Rob Hanson radio program Facebook page, the link is up there, and you can see this infographic for yourself. It really is very informative, very informative. And Luca, I love you, man. I really do. Your Facebook is funny, man. But one of the stories that Luca pointed out is the Federal Environmental Protection Agency has proposed new standards for wood stoves. Now, I understand we don't live in a real high wood stove burning area, except, when it gets cool. So more likely you're going to find people outside, burning a couple sticks of firewood or something, roasting some marshmallows, some hot dogs. But not a high instance of wood stoves being used in the area. Anyway, they want to reduce the maximum amount of fine particulate emissions for new wood burning stoves sold in 2015 through 2019. Maximum emissions would be reduced 1/3 next year by 80% in 5 years. Fine particulate pollution is made up of solid particles and liquid droplets that measure 1.5 micrometers in diameter or less. The EPA currently certifies that non-catalytic wood stoves, if they produce less than 5.7 grams of fine particulate per hour. Fine particulate absorbed by breathing has been linked to heart attacks and decreased lung function and premature death in people with heart or lung disease. Yeah, wood smoke. It is the Rob Hanson radio program. Bottom of the hour news. Come back. We're gonna check in at the Bullhead City Council. I don't know if I'm actually going to play anything from it. Just be aware it's starting here in about a minute. 29 after the hour in the tri-state area. It is the Rob Hanson radio program right here on KTOX 1340 AM.
Arizona News Radio. A spokesman for Governor Brewer says she may run again in 2014 if they get clear what 2 consecutive terms mean, since she was appointed to the first one.
The law is not necessarily clear as to what 2 terms, what constitutes 2 terms. And that hasn't been tested in Arizona, and may be something that ultimately does get tested.
Pima County Sheriff's deputies looking for a woman who broke into a car north of Tucson and took off her credit cards and used them.
She's Hispanic with long dark hair, heavy set. She was wearing a pink jacket, glasses.
Peoria police arrest 5 people accused of operating a medical marijuana dispensary, but saying it was a health clinic.
We found out they were actually bringing in people who had medical marijuana cards, signing them up as members.
Maricopa County Sheriff's detectives working with Canadian authorities. That 16-year-old has now done a 4th death threat against Sheriff Arpaio.
The sheriff, has a lot of death threats.
For these and other stories, ArizonaNewsRadio.com. I'm George Tanner.
Running a business isn't a solo act. It's more like a team sport. And like sports, it's vital to assemble the right players to be successful. Over the last 88 years, SCF Arizona has earned a reputation as being a valued member of their policyholders' teams, not just as a state's premier workers' compensation provider, but as a champion for Arizona business. When you're putting your team together, save a place for SCF. SCF Arizona, an AM Best A- rated company.
Here's a New Year's resolution for you. Get paid great money to do something you love. Become a certified personal trainer with the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and you get paid to stay in shape and help others reach their fitness goals. Plus, you're guaranteed a job within 60 days of certification or your money back. There's a huge demand for certified personal trainers, and you can earn a ton of money. Get started with a free 14...
We're KTOX, your local government watchdog for the tri-state.
You're to really be congratulated for having a station, and I say this with great admiration, standing up and independently seeking out information that your supporters there and advertisers in that community realize what you've got going. You've got an open voice that allows you to hear what's going on and to get the news, and an open voice for you to make your opinions known. That is not allowed in an awful lot of markets right now.
KTOX, Needles, a creative broadcasting services station.
This is Professor Michio Kaku. Freedom of speech is not free. Courageous stations like this one need your advertising dollars to pay their bills. Talk radio is America's immune system. If you run a business, it makes sense for you to advertise with this station. Here's the good news. According to Talkers Magazine, ads airing on talk stations like this one generate 2 to 3 times the response from customers than other radio formats because talk radio listeners support with their dollars the advertisers that support the shows that they love. If you run a business, advertise on this station. And if you're a listener, do business with the businesses that advertise on this station.
KTOX, Needles, a creative broadcasting services station.
The internet has given everyone in America a voice, and evidently everyone in America has chosen to use that voice.
Damn you, Internet! Dude, it's not fake. The internet's pure truth.
Good heavens, I was right. The man is crazy.
You ride that internet, you weird, glorious bastard.
KTOX1340.com. Check it out.
It's on the internet.
Hi, my name is Luca Zanna, and I support KTOX 1340 AM, your community radio station.
Well, I'm not uptight, not unattractive. Turn me on tonight, 'cause I'm a radioactive. Well, it's not a fight.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Hanson radio program right here on KTOX 1340 AM, the Tri-State's Renegade radio station. Talking about, anything you want to talk about. 1-800-842-1340 is the number you want to call and join in the conversation. Talk about, you got something on your chest you want to get off. You can of course, call me and we'll talk about it. Or you're just, angry or upset or, you want to, you decide you want to donate, a few $100s to my gas fund to come up and down to from Bullhead City to Needles every day. Be more than happy to take your phone call. 1-800-842-1340. I'm expecting anybody to do that. Anyway, council meetings getting underway right now. They're doing their opening spiel about public hearings and this and that and everything else. So we're not going to join that. I'm going to keep sort of an eye on that. And really. And going to keep an eye on that. Just make sure, somebody interesting may show up at the call to the public. So, just if that happens, we'll break in. We'll go with that. Jack's of course giving his opening spiel. We'll see how that goes. Let's oh, hey, we'll take a phone call. KTOX, you're on the air.
Hey, Radio Rob.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, buddy, listen, you know what, this thing about the DUI.
What about the DUIs?
Well,
you got one?
Oh.
Okay, you don't need to answer that question.
Listen, you can get one on a 3-wheeled, fat-tired tricycle.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
You can get one on a bicycle.
You can get one on a camel.
Or a horse. You bet.
A horse. And they don't check the horse.
No, they don't check the horse at all.
Nope. The thing is, folks have to understand that you got to be really nice to the popos.
You do.
You do. They got a crappy job to do. Now, you got to admit, come on.
What do I have to admit?
That they have a crappy job.
I do. I admit it every day.
And, they're basically decent people.
Most of them are. Yes, they. I will say that. Most of them are.
Most of the San Bernardino ones are.
Well, even a lot of the Bullhead City ones are.
I ain't going that far.
I am, because I know a few of them, and a few of them I respect a whole lot. There's a few of them I have absolutely no respect for whatsoever, but I do respect their office and I do respect their job.
Just you know what, folks, just don't. If you got a little too much liquor in you, don't get in nothing that's got a motor on it.
Really, that includes your lawn tractor.
That includes that.
Your electric wheelchair.
That includes that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll get impounded.
It will get impounded. That's right.
No, it's, you know, these guys, seriously, the police department and the sheriff's department, they have a horrible, horrible job to do.
They do.
And, you know, they go out there and they deal with it. And you were talking about guns earlier.
Yes, I was.
You know, in Wyoming, they get nervous when you don't have a gun.
Yeah, they do.
They get like, okay, what's wrong with you?
Well, you know, well, actually, they don't. I lived in Wyoming a long time. They get nervous when the known felons and pretty much Wyoming is a small community.
It is.
Okay, you've got a little over 600,000 people living there right now, and so you take a little town like Laramie, Wyoming, whose population is 20,000 on a day that everybody's in school. That includes the University of Wyoming. Okay, all the cops, all the sheriff's department, all the university police, they know everybody.
Well, yeah.
They know if you have a felony. They also know if you have a felony warrant. They know if you're supposed to be carrying or not carrying.
They know where you are.
Exactly.
At what time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I have no problem with that.
Neither do I, because it's a small community and everybody knows.
But I'll tell you what, you got to give San Bernardino County ESO a bit of credos here.
I will. You know, I've never really had any dealings with those folks.
Well, that's because they're good guys.
Okay.
No, really, they are, and they control here in Needles,
Mm-hmm.
and they take care of everything.
Good.
And they're actually pretty decent fellows.
Excellent. We need more police officers like that.
Yeah, excuse me, I have to go. Another prisoner needs the phone.
All righty. Well, hey, thanks for your call. It is the Rob Hanson radio program. Right now, looks like they have the what is that? Dick Willington, Whittington. He's up there giving his little talk. Let's take a listen in real quick. See what he has to say.
It's very difficult right now. The price of gold has continued to come down. This is not a good time to be in the gold market as well. So we have our challenges. Right now, it's going to be a tough quarter for the company. But I did just want to clarify that we're not shut down on the one hand, and we're also not proceeding with phase 2, as the newspaper article said. Before we even contemplate that, we have to raise this money in the marketplace, and that's now a big challenge. That's my focus to go forward. Elsewhere, though, we're here again. John Masterson is in the audience. We're continuing on with our programs in terms of the community heritage. Sorry, Lisa, I got that wrong. She got me wrong in front of the radio report. The Cultural and Historical Center. She's going to pay for that. And we will be continuing with that. Obviously, John is spearheading that. It's very nice to see the Little Red Schoolhouse up on the mural behind you there. We are looking to move that forward. We have a fundraising campaign that has kicked off or about to kick off. $47 a brick is part of it. 47 is to match the year 1947 of the Little Red Schoolhouse. So anybody who wishes to donate to buy a brick, you can get your name on a brick, and it can be part of the community sidewalk that we put in place. So that is continuing, and obviously we're very excited to be part of that. That'll be phase 2, and then obviously phase 3 is moving the museum. And again, a very exciting moment, I think, for us all to build a community cultural and historical center, and hopefully bring the community together and help bring a real sense of excitement to the city. And obviously, you know, from myself, I'm very excited to be here. It's a wonderful city. It's got a lot of potential, and we're just thrilled to be part of your community. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry to hear about the rumors, but sometimes in this town, they tend to exaggerate what the facts are, and therefore many people just pass it off. As to the bricks, where would they make their donation to?
Okay, of course,
sitting in the back.
Well, is there
the
an
custodian?
address? Is there a phone number? Or is it just to is the Chamber of Congress doing that, Chris? Come on up here. Just tell us where and
oh yes,
to
where
whom.
do we donate a brick to? Can we throw it through a window?
Good evening, honored Verbal Mayor and staff and council members. Yes, if you are interested in purchasing a brick, you can stop by the Bullhead Area Chamber next to Community Park, and we'll gladly go ahead and they can make it out to the check to the actual Bullhead Chamber of Commerce and care to the Little Red Schoolhouse, and we will go ahead and make sure those funds are set aside. So when the time comes to do those expenditures to move the schoolhouse, that will all be right there. So they're collecting fiduciary type of acting people as an organization for them right now. If they have any questions, they can give the Chamber a call at 754-4121.
And the chamber is located next to the tortoise?
Yes.
Yes, the new tortoise.
Next to the latest, greatest tourism attraction, let me tell you.
Joke.
Thank you, Chris.
A joke.
And Dick,
Just by way of update, the target for the fundraising was $48,000, and I think we're now at $39,800 still to go. So there have been some very generous donations, and a lot of people donating their time as well as materials. So I think, again, super effort by everybody.
Well, thank you for the update. Thank you for the clarification, and thank you for being part of this community. And we wish you success.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Pretty much the same update he gave to the
we will now have call to the public.
to the Board of
this
Supervisors
step
yesterday. Let's listen into the call to the public.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, Jamie Starr. My condolences to Mr. Vick's family and all those who knew him. Very tragic. Tonight I want to finish some comments from last year, and I want to look forward to a productive new year for the city. The coming year I'm going to bring some items before you for action that I hope will improve our city. Last year, the section at the last meeting, the Section 12 revelation at the last meeting, took me and much of the community by surprise. I'm not sure what benefit was achieved by those who instrumented the collapse of the arrangements, but something that bothered me was I read in the paper that the city had refused a Freedom of Information Act by the Mojave News. To my way of thinking, short of national security, there's little reason to withhold public information from a legitimate media. They're the public's watchdogs. While we as citizens abdicate our decision-making to our elected representatives, we still want to keep an eye on things and occasionally provide our input. As I've stated in the past, I personally trust and support the council in looking out for the community. And however, such actions by the city create an impression of secrecy. I'm a proponent of open government. I think we've all seen the effects of secrecy and the lack of public scrutiny in the federal government. And let's not do that locally. On Riverview and Rotary Park, this is the third time now I've brought up what's going on at the park. The newspaper reports new baseball fields are being constructed, yet the public plan for the park on the city website clearly shows that area is a green belt with walking paths and an apparent park course. When was this changed? Who authorized it? And
Good question. Who authorized it? Who did it? And why? Of course, we're in the middle of a buffer. I imagine Dave's trying to watch it back there too. But holy cow! Come on.
The public deserves to know. Meanwhile, the skateboard park, which I've mentioned in the past, is falling apart. Every time I'm down there and I walk along the river there, like many other people, I see 10 or 20 kids Every time. It's used all day long. Some of these kids are at risk and latchkey children. It's one activity they can do that doesn't cost a lot of money, it doesn't require a team or uniform, and hopefully it doesn't involve drugs. It seems to be a pretty well managed operation. I don't see a lot of issues happening there. Maybe instead of building amenities for visiting special interest baseball groups and considering the little financial gain that is, or financial data that is available to support the contention that tournaments will bring added benefit to the city as a whole, maybe instead we should provide first for the local kids who use the skate park on a daily basis. The ball fields sit empty a great deal of time, and the skate park sees considerable daily use. We'll be talking more about roads, blight, crime, arts, and other important issues as the year progresses. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. There was some criticism in those comments, and one, I would like the city attorney to address the point that she brought out about information, public information, and the reasons that were given. And maybe I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea.
Mayor, I'd be happy to do that. There was an initial public records request when we were drafting the Section 12 agreement, and so the draft document, which had not been approved by BLM, had not been thoroughly approved and vetted through the process, that was not released. We don't release draft documents that are work products and that are being worked on. That was what the newspaper was alluding to. Once the document was done, it was released. In fact, we've posted everything online for the world to see. And so to say that we denied a public record request for the document is not true. To say that we denied a public records request for the draft of the document would be a truthful statement.
Okay. Now, the other question that was brought up as it relates to the planning for Rotary Park regarding the trails and Greenway trails. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, I would be happy to talk to Jamie at any time, and I would encourage her to attend some of our Park and Recreation Commission meetings as well. They've been analyzing and looking at the master plan for Rotary Park. This will be on future agendas that they're looking at. The more appropriate place would be to direct citizens to come to those Park and Rec Commission meetings where they've been thoroughly analyzing and will continue to analyze, I believe, even at their next agenda, the layout and master planning of Rotary Park.
And there will be the Heritage Trail around will still continue through that area.
Part of the Riverview Drive reconstruction includes the completion of the loop at Rotary Park.
And the funding for this is from where?
That project is grant funded.
And is it baseball fields or is it primarily soccer fields?
Well, as it stands right now, those fields that are proposed, the community has donated 100% of the funding, and so the funding that has been donated so far would basically be enough for grass. Until the community steps forward with more dollars, the hope would be that there could be an assortment of recreational fields, but at this time it will be a big grassy area until the community steps forward with additional dollars and or other funding sources avail themselves to create more ball fields, more soccer fields, more recreational fields. So within the next 12 months you'll see a big grassy field out there that people will be playing on.
Okay, and to our city clerk, Jamie brought up about some items to present to council. Is it not, I mean, isn't it that a citizen can put an item on the agenda, a council agenda?
Yes, Mayor, there is a process. It's in our code book. There is a way for a citizen to request an item to be placed in front of the council. I'm sure the clerk's office would be happy to work with Jamie on that, as we have been willing to work with Jamie on an assortment of items, and I think that's why not all of her comments or criticism, I mean, she does provide useful commentary to us, and we have good dialogue, and so if there are positive or negative things that she wants addressed, or if she wants to specifically bring an item to the council, there is an avenue to do that.
And it's not just with Jamie, because I do appreciate her comments. It's just that I think it's important that the public know that we are as transparent as we can be, and we have not denied anybody public information. And I think that was explained, if I'm not mistaken, to the news, correct?
It was, and the Daily News has not contacted us with anything beyond that initial request. We did fulfill their request, albeit we did not give them the work product at the time.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address council?
Hi, my name is Randy Gray, and I do the promote of the Bluegrass Festival here in town. I have done it for, this will be the 11th year since I started. And first off, since you're talking about grass, you know, bluegrass and green grass goes together, so if you got a big flat spot we can use, that'd be wonderful. So that's something to look forward to. But I just want to speak and let everybody that don't know what bluegrass is, it's a wonderful form of music. It comes from Ireland and Scotland down through the West Virginia and those areas. But it's a family thing. Our festival draws, I don't know, thousands of people. Like I say, this is the 10th, this might be the 11th year. This is the 11th year. We've never had an argument at one. We've never had a police officer at one just coming through and listening to the music. But we've never had any problems at all. And I just want to get the word out. We need, we can use a lot of participation from the local people here. We can raise money to help sponsor this. It costs a lot of money. Music, all the music comes from Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia. They either fly out or they drive their buses out, and you don't get them cheap. So I just want to bring it to the city's attention that anybody who wants to participate can help us. We appreciate it. We could use their help.
And the date and the location.
The location is going to be at Rotary Park, and I think Rotary Park is going to be a wonderful place. You can't make these places overnight. If I can speak on that, I'm not a politician. I don't live in the city, but I spend a lot of time at Rotary Park looking around. The bicycle and the walking trail is wonderful, and once it's complete, it's going to be wonderful because you don't have to go so far and go back. You can just keep going. I've only seen one in my life that I thought was as nice as this one's going to be, and that was up in Potosi, Michigan. I spent a few weeks up there, and I had my bike with me, and it was a wonderful one there. And this one is equally as nice, and it's nice.
And the date. And the date.
The date
for the Bluegrass Festival
is the 7th, 8th, and 9th of February. And people start checking in and coming into town with their motorhomes. They'll come in on Wednesday. The gates open on Wednesday, and by Thursday night, it'll be several hundred of them.
And where would they get their tickets if
they're going to get the tickets at the gate? We don't have, well, they could call the city, but normally that's not the way it's done. Pre-sale's not real big most of the time. They've been coming so long now, they just wait till they get there and buy their tickets and park and camp and spend money. They spend a lot of money in this town when they come. Most of them are driving big diesel pushers. They buy all their fuel, their groceries for camping and I guess that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Larry Toonforce.
Oh, Larry,
in the last 3 months, I've had the opportunity to attend 3 different events at Mojave High School. First, there was a Veterans Day event that I thought between...
Well, that's gonna do it. Sorry, Larry, we're out of time. It is the Rob Hanson radio program. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, we will. Have more of what's going on in the city council meeting tomorrow. Of course, Dave and Frank's show tomorrow morning. Hey, thanks for all your calls. Thanks for all your messages, and thanks for your patronage of KTOX 1340. We'll see you tomorrow. It is the Rob Hanson radio program.
When it comes to local news, state news, business news,